Thank you, Samson. To start with, I think it's important to state that ordinarily, if the president invited anybody and mentioned his intention to nominate them for a ministerial appointment, this is not a matter that should be in the media. But on this occasion, unfortunately, somehow there were media reports, and I was disturbed by the reasons being suggested for me declining to take up the ministerial appointment. And therefore, it became necessary to issue the statement to clarify that the reasons were inaccurate and that it was for these legitimate reasons that I declined to take up the ministerial position. But
so first start off, for those of us who have not read your statement, help them and appreciate that you just don't want to be part of a bad, economic management team, and that there are other reasons why you declined. Explain to them why you declined.
Well, I think given the challenges that this administration has faced, and given the historical, in my view, historical weaknesses in the way we have managed our economy, not necessarily this another administration, this government has done what it can. I'm very clear in my mind about that, and therefore I should be proud to support such a government, especially in these difficult times. And therefore, the suggestion that somehow I considered that this was a team that I do not want to be, I do not want to play in is completely wrong, and I suggest to people to disregard that. The reason I declined is this. First, they come in twofold. The first is that, Parliament plays a critical role in the work of government. It was not for nothing that in 2021, when the NPP side in Parliament became depleted of all the people who had competence in finance and economy, the president, the majority leader, and the then finance minister all spoke with me and suggested that I leave the executive to go and support the work of government in Parliament. And over the period, I have done a lot. I'm proud of some of the things that we have been able to achieve because I'm in Parliament. And therefore, I have no regrets for being moved from the ministry to Parliament. And I considered that it is work that I must complete in Parliament, at least to the end of this Parliament's life. Mm. And therefore, being moved to the executive at this time would be suboptimal. And that is why it was the first reason I declined. The second reason...
In Parliament, you literally don't have the power of the purse as an individual to be able to effect some of the changes that you would want to, yes. But as a minister, you then have the opportunity to determine certain directions in the implementation of the government's agenda. So this is a lost opportunity. You could do better.
Not necessarily, Samson. Look, especially for this particular finance committee, remember that we are 25, 12 of us, 12 from the minority side, 12 from the majority side, and I chair. So my vote is extremely important for this particular finance committee. The second is that sometimes it's
so you do both. Most of you are doing both, isn't it? You do both. You are minister, you are in Parliament anyway.
Well, if you're a minister, you are unable to serve as the chairman for a committee.
Okay.
So the point I'm making is that I am playing a role that I consider to be in the national interest. I'm playing a critical role in Parliament, and sometimes it is not just your vote. It's also your ability to understand these finance issues and to convince your colleagues why one referral will have to be approved as it is, or that we should prevail on the minister to change certain things in the referral. So the long and short, the point I'm making is that there is a critical role I'm playing, and I didn't consider that being moved to the executive was optimal at this point. But the second point, and perhaps the more important point, is that You know, the external global environment has, in my view, imposed new challenges on us as a people, in respect especially of the economy. Now, that together with the fact that, in my view, there's a deficit of confidence within the population towards Ghanaians. I hear too many Ghanaians expressing concerns that the political class is no longer working for them and that we are out for ourselves. I am one of those who believe that these are matters that the NPP going forward, especially formulating our manifesto, must respond to frontally. The deficit in political confidence in the political class, but also the new challenges imposed by a hostile economic global environment are all things that should call for new ways of doing things. These are discussions I would be happy to participate in as MPP formulate strategies going forward. I consider that I'm in a better position to do that as a non-ministerial member of parliament than to be a minister and to try and do this. So in short, for these two reasons,
right.
Let
me get your brief view on this, because you came to the fore in Kufuor's regime. What Kufuor did, President Kufuor is doing completely the opposite. In his final year, he asked all appointees seeking elections or re-election to leave his government, and he replaced them with people who could work without the distraction of campaigns. Nana Addo has done the opposite, and we have just been told that you need at least about 6 months to settle in. We understand, as it were, these appointments will be confirmed by Parliament, maybe, hopefully by close of March, before the Parliament rises. What time is there to do what work when these people are supposed to, get onto the field of campaign?
Samson, I consider that there are pros and cons for each of the scenarios that you paint. Look, it is also the case that when an individual has no stake, really, in, say, the next political phase after the election, then their attitude to governance may well be, how do I look after myself? Because I'm exiting, I need to get my pensions. That is one way you could look at it. But it's also a legitimate point to say that, well, you're on your way out, and because you're not contesting elections, you have a lot more time. You would bring that to the benefit of the work you do. You could look at it either way.
All right.
I think we should leave it to the president. If on this occasion the president considers that those who have a stake going forward should lead the project, not just of the election, but also concluding this last year of this administration, I think we should allow the president to have his way.
Thank you very much. Kwaku Kwarteng is MP for Boise West, and he chairs the Finance Committee in Parliament.